Hello everyone, Treecks here, and welcome back to Diddy Kong Racing. As you can see, we stopped at an open door, an open boss door. Last time we finished off the second world, Snowflake Mountain, both the regular races, the first boss, and the silver coin challenge that is attached to it. And now there's only one thing we need to do. No, that's not true, we also need to do the trophy race. Okay, never mind, there's two things to do. But last time I decided to actually wait on this boss fight for a little bit, because I think this is the most challenging thing so far in this game. The second time you do this boss, I think, is by far the hardest one. Let's go see how much destruction I am going to encounter.
Fantastic! If you can beat me again, I'll give you a special prize!
Okay, fantastic! It's going to be fantastic if I win in first try. Okay. Now that I've said how hard I think this is, usually whenever I do stuff like that, I do it first try. It's the whole reason why I say that. Or maybe I can actually prove what I mean with this. This guy's pretty fast, it's pretty hard to actually keep track with him, and especially with my skills in the Hovercraft, that is usually pretty hard to do. Especially in these tunnel sections, I usually get hit way too much, and with that I mean hitting the walls. Missing the balloons also doesn't help. Because of him being so far ahead of me most of the time, I can't really say I have a lot of use for regular missiles. I usually need a double missile in order to get the homing missile for this guy. I missed the missiles, so yeah, no, it's not going to work unless I can hit him. Even then I think I won't stop him enough. No, indeed, he beat me. I was hoping, because of me saying how hard I think this is, I was be able to do the first try. Not quite.
Oh, never mind, kid. You can come back whenever you're ready.
Well, that's the problem. I'm never ready. But I do need to beat this at some point, so allow me to try again. Second time's the charm, let's go. Okay, there's still two balloons coming up, so if I hit him both times I can still gain up on him. Ah, come on, that hit him. Apparently I missed. This one I did hit him, but too late. Okay. Once again, failure. Yeah, it's safe to say I don't like this boss fight. It's way too difficult.
Oh, never mind, kid. You can come back.
Okay, this should not be this difficult. Okay. I'm a little bit too close behind him now. Don't forget, you can still get flattened by him, so... And that was not just a dinosaur thing. This Walrus can also flatten you if you actually get hit by him directly. Okay, homing missile. So I'll guarantee I hit him. Oh. Come on. Oh, come on. Let's go. Okay, I'm in first. Keep it that way. Ooh, that was really close. And trust me, if I win this, it's always close. It's the best I can do.
Well done! You've won a piece of the amulet! Now try the trophy challenge. Goodbye, kid.
Okay, thank you. Took forever, but here we go. After some effort and learning how this guy works, especially learning the item placement and stuff like that, he is still doable, but definitely by far the hardest thing we had to do so far in this game. But here we go, second piece of the amulet gotten. And the only thing I can say about that is fantastic! That's never going to leave my mind. Okay, trophy challenge is up next. All 4 tracks in a cup. Let's pretend we're playing Mario Kart again. Let's go do Snowflake Mountains Trophy Challenge.
Everfrost Peak.
The most fun thing about this trophy race is the fact that it's 10 times easier than the boss fight. Especially since I'm not forced to actually win this time around. I only need to make sure I'm the general first place after 4 races. It is something you can officially reach. Even if you never win a single race, you can get all second places. And as long as someone else actually wins all of the races, you still get first place. So even without winning, you can actually clear this. But I wouldn't recommend trying that. Because usually it is the same person that is actually your rival, kind of like in Mario Kart. There's always a set rival that is there in order to actually challenge you. If somebody else wins all of the races, it's not going to be that difficult. In that case, I'm pretty sure even if you get all 3rd places, you will still be able to get first ranking in the end. If the rest of the field is all over the place. But they usually are not. And just like with Hot Top Volcano, I really feel in this track, most notably in the trophy race, that for some reason the computer players are really darn fast here. I never am able to actually stay with them for some reason. I talked about this last time in the previous trophy race, but for some reason, and that's not counting the fact that they also shoot missiles at me from behind me, but for some reason usually the first couple of racers in these kind of airplane races are for some reason really fast. Never really understood why. And I don't want to blame myself for this, because I have been saying that I'm not that great with the airplane, but I also don't feel I'm that terrible at it, so can't really say it's my fault that these guys are faster. It's just the programming, I think. But I can still beat them. You are really dependent on the boosters, I feel, when it comes to that, because as you might have noticed here, when it comes to the regular speed, just normal flying, that's usually not enough to actually catch up with these guys. You really need the zippers and the boosters. Otherwise you're not seeing these guys ever again.
Walrus Cove.
Okay, with the airplane track out of the way, let's go try winning all 4 tracks this time around. I was not able to do that in Dino Domain. But hopefully I can do it now. The other 3 tracks are technically speaking more difficult, but at least there are regular karts. That's more my thing. So I should be able to at least have some better control. Even though the tracks are officially harder. Now that I've done them a couple of times, the first time through and in the Silver Coin Challenge, I think I know the tracks again. After all these years, they're back in my mind. I'm used to them again, so let's see if I can do this race flawlessly now. I also need to start learning to play these tracks flawlessly, because there is still a time attack coming up later on. Okay, that was not quite flawless. But I still have some time. Because the story mode is fun and everything, the adventure mode, but it's not the only thing we're going to cover in this game. There's also still the time attack that you need to do. In order to beat all of the staff ghosts time, you might say. The first racing game where we're actually going to do that. Mario Kart 64 also had something similar, but it was only in 3 tracks there. And in one of the tracks I wasn't even able to beat the staff ghost time. But in this game there's actually also some track records that you need to beat in the time attack mode. In this game there is one for every single track. That's also something I need to try to tackle at some point. And at that point I actually do need to have these tracks in my mind fully. Because then I need to play them perfectly. Not so much required now, because the fast time is fun, but not per se required. The only thing that matters now is winning. It does not matter how fast you are. Okay, this one is in the bag. Let's go past the finish post, because why not? As long as the game allows that, it's always fun to do. You see that in more racing games where there's some space between the wall and the finish flag, or the posts that actually hold up the finish flag. And it's always fun to actually finish the race going past those. So why not do it here?
Snowball map.
Okay, up next is Snowball Valley. Some chaos happened here, I can remember, in the Silver Coin Challenge, but let's finally start to try to do this track regularly. Because the first time through, I also wasn't able to actually fully show off this track normally because of the key that I needed to grab. And therefore I was actually in last place for a long time in that race. And speaking of last place, even now that I'm not distracted, that I can finally race this track normally, even now I was able to see last place for a moment. Go away, Pipsy. Why are you faster than me? You're supposed to be the lightest weight character in this game. There's no way you can be faster than me. Probably because of a booster, but still. It feels so weird that the character with the lowest top speed in this game was actually outspeeding me. There's rubber banding for you. The further we get in this game, the more we will see of it. It's also one of the fun aspects of this game, I feel. How it starts off super easy, not giving you a single thought of, hey, this game is challenging, all these guys can easily be beaten. And the further you get in the challenges in this game, the faster these guys will actually become. Here was an example of that. But still not quite fast enough in order to defeat me. But trust me, they will. In fact, in Hot Top Volcano they already beat me in the trophy race, but that was a plane track. And for the airplane track, different rules apply, I feel. Like I've explained. But even when it comes to regular kart racing, the later trophy races in the last couple of worlds can be quite difficult. So winning all of the tracks is definitely not a guarantee. But here it should still be doable. One more to go. Okay. Definitely the easiest one, I feel, when it comes to defeating the computer players. This one rarely gives me troubles. Oh! I was on two wheels for a moment. Looked weird. But I'm still going, so we can laugh it away. Oh yeah, I did promise I would show off a couple of shortcuts when crossing through the village area. Allow me to skip that again. I know I did promise I would do it now, but I have not practiced this track a whole lot in the meantime. Oh, as you can see. And that section can actually really screw you up if you don't do it properly. So I've actually decided to show that off in the time attack mode when I start tackling the staff ghost times. There you actually are required to use those sections in order to do this track fast enough. So I'd first like to practice this track a couple of times before I actually start tackling those shortcuts. So I will once again skip them. I am breaking my promise with this, I know, but I will show them off eventually, don't worry. I'll just not do it now. I was thinking that... oh! Nice placement for the spike ball, by the way. But anyway, to finish that story, I was thinking of doing some practice runs in between episodes in order to get the hang of these tracks again. However, I've decided not to do that anymore. Because I think it's way more fun to actually go into these tracks cold, not being used to them anymore. And the practicing I'm going to have to do in the time attack anyway, so the moment I start doing time attack, then I will start practicing the tracks beforehand, because then I need to do them perfectly. And only then I will feel confident enough to tackle sections like those. So this was another regular show-off of this track. Otherwise I wouldn't have won, I'm pretty sure, because I would have screwed up in most cases. But that said, we do have a full 4 set of victories. All 4 races won. It does not give you anything extra, so don't start doing that for 100% clear business. Even if you don't win all of the tracks, you will still get the trophy as long as you're first place. That's all that matters. There's no bonus reward if you win all of the tracks. It's just extra fun to do so. So you can brag to all of your friends how good you are at this game. But anyway, let's go to world number 3. At least unless Tarsh is going to interrupt us again. Yeah, he will.
I challenge you to
It is time for the plane challenge. To test your flying skills, you must race me around the island. Double exclamation point. Yeah, you were expecting a third challenge, and indeed, there is one. After the Kart and Hovercraft challenge, it's now time for the flying challenge. This is by far the most annoying one to do, because this one is not entirely clear where you need to go at first. Luckily I remember this track, so I knew I needed to go into that tunnel leading towards the second world. But I remember the first time I actually did this challenge, I actually got lost immediately. I didn't find the first couple of flags. Oh yeah, of course. Need to do a sharp turn there. Unlike with the Hovercraft, where I explained you don't necessarily have a drift move in order to take sharp turns. With the airplane, you actually do have that. It works as follows. You can also hold the R button in order to do a drift move. However, unlike with the cars where the wheels are on the ground, we can't do any drifting here. Here it actually works like a barrel roll. If I hold R here, as you can see, the plane gets turned to its side and we can do sharper turns. And that is actually required for that turn over there. So required, in fact, that Tarsh is still ahead of me, so I have some catching up to do. Allow me to shorten this a little bit by cutting off here. You're allowed to do that. Even though the game does expect you to actually go through all of the flags, the hitbox is actually pretty lenient. You can go past these flags for quite a bit and it still counts, so you don't actually directly have to touch these flags. And you can use that to cut off a couple of sections like that. That was my last challenge. You have done well. He even says so. There's no hidden fourth vehicle in this game. These are in fact all 3 of the vehicles. So we're done with Tarsh's funny business for the rest of the game. Allow me to start looking for world number 3. Yeah, it is accessible by plane, so let's just stay in the plane. It's more fun to actually switch to the hovercraft, because the third world is actually over here, in the water. And as you may expect, it's going to be a sea-themed world, making use of the hovercraft for the first couple of times. But before we go into this world, let's take a look at this. There's a sign over here, keeping track of how many trophies we've gotten in the trophy race. And that is not there for nothing. There's also a lighthouse here. Keep this lighthouse in mind. It's not going to be relevant for now, but just keep in mind it's here. Okay, and here we have the door to world number 3. But before we go in, there's actually a golden balloon behind there. Right over here. Only accessible by plane or hovercraft. Leaving only one more golden balloon left in the overworld. However, I'm not going to grab that, because I think it's fun to actually try to see how much we can do with this game before that final balloon actually becomes required. I'm pretty sure this entire third world we can do entirely without it. So for that it does not matter. Welcome to Sherbet Island. Not to be confused with Sherbet Land from Mario Kart 64, which is actually an ice world. And we just did an ice world, but here it's actually an island world. Tropical with that, I mean. Here's where all the stuff is. As you can see, the locked door with the key, the boss door over there. And all of the tracks are over here. And Whale Bay seems to be the one requiring the least amount of golden balloons. So yeah, you guessed it, that's the one we're doing first. Welcome to Whale Bay. The first official track, not counting boss stages or task challenges, that is actually a hovercraft stage. So, finally, it took for the third world until the hovercraft finally became the vehicle to use in a racing track. And it's luckily a very easy one, because as you can see it's a simple oval shaped track. This one you can see as the introduction to the hovercraft when it comes to the racing. Even though we already did a boss stage using this hovercraft, and even Tarsh's challenge. But of all 3 things we've done so far with the hovercraft, this is by far the easiest one. The hovercraft definitely gets introduced in the wrong order in this game, I feel. But anyway, here we are. with the introduction to Sherbet Island first, of course. No silver challenges to do, no trophy race. First, we're in the situation where we get to know the track and nothing more than that. Computer players are still pretty easy at this point. They're not quite challenging us quite yet. And that will be for later. But okay, here we go. And that was Whale Bay. And hopefully, unlike last time, the boss is not going to be a whale. Because last time we had Walrus Cove and the boss actually ended up becoming a walrus. Are we going to see a whale this time around? Or maybe not. But anyway, that was the introduction to the Hovercraft when it comes to the actual racing. Second one is going to be Crescent Island. Right over here, it's right next to it. And Crescent Island is extra interesting because we are once again going to look for a key. Of all the tracks in Sherbet Island, this is actually the track that houses the key. And this one is really interesting because it's really well hidden. Allow me to grab it immediately in the first lap, because otherwise you're not going to win the race. Go off the track here. And yeah, we're not in a hovercraft, so going through the water will go really slowly until we reach this alcove over here, grabbing the key. And once again, it's going to take forever for us to come back. So we're really, really far behind now. And the comeback is going to be real. It was already the case in Snowball Valley that we needed to go out of our way quite a bit in order to grab the key. But this one is even worse because of the water in front of it and actually forcing us to slow down by a lot. But usually you're not going to see 7th place until you've entered the second lap already. But officially it should still be doable. I can remember I am able to do this. Okay, already in 4th place, but the first 3 are actually ahead by a little bit more. Okay, they're still in range, so this should be fine. Okay, another thing I can actually mention. The key you don't necessarily have to grab the first time through. You can always come back later when you've already won the track. First go for a first place and then come back later because the door will stay open. You can always go in this track whenever you want. And then decide to grab the key later on. But I always thought it was most fun to actually try to grab all of the collectibles in one go. And therefore saying grabbing the key and win the race. And you can also decide to do it during the silver coin challenge. Because of course this key you use to unlock the battle mode of this world. But it's completely separate from the rest of this world. So you can also just go for the boss. And then when you come back to the silver coin challenge, then grab it for extra challenge. But that I think would be a very bad idea. So best bet is to just grab it on the first time through. Or decide to come back later for it. Something you can always do, of course. Perhaps I'll show that off in the 4th world. To show off, that's also a possibility. First win the race and then come back for the key. I can also try to do that in the 4th world. I'll try to remember that. But okay, that is all for today. I see my time is up. So this has been the introduction to Sherbet Island. See you folks next time when I'll try to finish it. See you guys tomorrow for that. Thanks for watching and Treecks out.